Welcome back to the channel, guys, with Whitsunday Lawn Renovations. My name's Nick, the dude behind all the editing, all the filming, all that kind of fun stuff. What you guys are seeing now is the end result of this job, which doesn't look great, but there's a method to the madness, which I'll explain to you guys here. So this right now, what we're looking at is before the job, so it's a little bit in reverse, but we'll get to the video. I'll explain to you guys as we go. Hopefully you guys learn a little bit about this. Alright, we've just arrived at this job. As you guys probably would have seen, there's no more lawn renovations for the year, or for the season, sorry, just because it's obviously cooling down, coming into winter now. But check this out. So, the job we got to do here today, I don't know how well you guys can see it, there's a lot of like divots running through there. So when these guys have laid the turf, or whoever has laid the turf, they've laid strips along here, which has created just big divots through here. So what we're going to come through to do today, cut it all down nice and low, and then we'll come through, whippersnip this, get that down to kind of like dirt ground level, and we're going to come through, fill all the divots with sand. And this is going to be a process over time. You can see kind of a bit better there, but be a bit of a process over time, seeing how everything goes with it. But as I said, bit of process. We'll fill it with sand, each divot, like we'll come through, got the Kanga sitting over there as well, put sand in each divot. And over time, this will slowly build up. We'll have to come back a few times over the course of the year and just keep building it back up so this can grow like nice and smoothly. So we'll put the drones up, we'll put all the gear up, and we'll give you guys a little bit of a look. Right, I'm starting this one off here, purely just mowing it. So all those high spots in between those divots, we're just gonna cut them down nice and low. So we kind of want to take that down to ground level. And for you guys at home that are gonna be doing this kind of stuff, if you wanna do it, it makes it easier if you just square it off in little sections. So I'm just working from the shed back, just doing that little extra section to square it off. And then once I start, I'll move through, do another little area, and then we'll try to get that happen through the whole way. Now this is a full re-level, and it's a pretty big one at that. You can see from the videos before, like there was a lot of divots and everything through there. So it's gonna take a lot of sand to actually fill this one up. And we need to take it back as low as we possibly can without actually ruining the grass. The idea behind this is more or less trying to shock the grass into getting it to grow, and that's what we're obviously going to put the sand back over the top later on in the video and everything. So again, if you guys are going to do this stuff at home, cut it down nice and low, but make sure you don't ruin the grass too much. And you can see here we're picking up all the clippings and everything, because when we do actually go to sand, we're going to have like a nice neat surface. That way it's going to grow as best as possible. This is where Ben comes in. You can see him on the right hand side of the screen. We were actually going to go with the whippersnipper, and we were going to like cut down all those little divots with the whippersnipper. But when Ben got here, he kind of decided it's going to be best to actually use a mower and just like scalp that down. It was super low. Reason for that being that there was actually enough room to actually get the mower fully in the divots, because the divots are quite big. Like as I said at the start, when the people did lay the turf, they laid it in full big strips and then left a gap in between the middle of the strips, because they were told that when they were going to lay the turf, that if they did it in strips and left a gap in the middle, it could grow over and it would save them time and money. Now, unfortunately, that's not the case. So when these guys have actually let it grow and it's all come to fruition, it's actually turned out pretty bad for them. So we're obviously coming in now to fix everything like that. As I said, we're going to take this one back to as low as we possibly can. I'll show you guys all the sand and everything from there on. Now, here's where it starts to get heaps of fun. So we've brought in around 12 to 13 ton of sand. Now this back section up here, as you guys would have seen from the start of the video on the drone footage, that whole back section through here was all kind of like a bit of a sand pit anyway, so we're just kind of filling that up with sand, which is obviously going to level into the next bit. And then Ben's coming up here with the leveling bar, and that's just trying to smooth all that kind of stuff out. Eventually, I think these guys are going to put a pool or something in there, but for now, we just want it all nice and level. So Ben's come in, leveling bar in front of the Kanga. Beautiful part about this is with the Kanga, it doesn't really rip up the grass too much, providing you don't pivot too much. So it makes it nice and easy. Level this whole little area out, and then we can start getting into actually filling out the rest of it. And show you guys how to do this at home if your backyard, your lawn, front yard, whatever it might be, is a little bit uneven. So the benefit we have with this is we've obviously got the Kanga, which saves us a lot of time. Otherwise we'd be using wheelbarrows. But Ben just coming through here, picking up the sand, and then as you can see now, I'm coming through in front with the leveling bar. So he's dumping like sand into all these little divots, and then I'm pushing the sand around it and smoothing it off to make it nice and easy. So this is a process that takes a lot of time. I think we're here for 6 hours in the hot sun. It was 35 degrees, middle of summer, and let me tell you right now, it was not a good time. So when we got to the end of it, I was pretty bloody happy. Now we continued this on until the end of the job, and then you can see here right at the end, once everything's actually done, all the sand's actually laid out, Ben's pushing everything around as like a final touch up, just to make sure it's all smooth. So you can see the leveling rake he does have is going over the high spots with that. That way the divots through the middle are all nice and level. So this whole yard will eventually be fully level. As I did say at the start of the video, it's going to take a few seasons for it to actually kick in properly. But the idea at the moment is to kind of fill in those divots, and then with rain and water over time, it's actually going to sink down, and we've got to build it back up. So it's just a process of building it up and up and over time. You can see here again, that leveling rake, it's on both the high spots, so there's little green strips through the middle. But as I said, this is a process. It's going to take time, and eventually it will be fully level. From above, it doesn't really look like anything special. I mean, if somebody was coming over to your backyard having a barbecue, they'd probably think, what the hell is going on with this? But eventually, as I said, it's going to look pretty good. Now, we fast forward 3 weeks, have a look at it start to come through. So when we actually left there, we told the owners, you need to water the hell out of it, give it a big drink, and eventually it's going to start working. And as I said, 3 weeks later, this is the end result, and we'll show you guys later in the season how good this looks. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If anybody at home is thinking about re-leveling their backyard, hopefully you guys have learned something. If you need any tips, tricks, or anything like that, send us a message with Sunday Lawn Renovations on Instagram and Facebook. Otherwise, like, subscribe, see you next week.